hotel. She hit some telephone wires and they were ripped from the poles that they were on. And her body was entangled all around them as she landed in the ground.
Police were unable to determine if Grace had fallen or jumped from the hotel room. M.W. Madison, who was the dude that was napping at the time, could give no explanation for Grace's action. And the manager of the hotel, J.B. Reed, corroborated M.W.'s story. Her death was eventually ruled a suicide.
No way.
So, do y'all think that maybe M.W. pushed her? I mean, he was a sailor for the USS Virginia, right? And you got to look back at that time, 1937. Women's opinions weren't that well received, right? It's back in the day. So him and Grace got into an argument. He threw her out the window. He went down and told J.B. Reed, hey, I just heard a smack on I just heard whatever her face, this chick I was with, she just jumped out of the window, blah, 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 blah. And J.B. Reed was like, yeah, the manager of the hotel, he told the police, yeah, he came down there and said that. Got away with murder. Anyways, that's just my theory behind that. But let's continue on with the deaths.
Less than a year later, in January of 1938, 35-year-old Roy Thompson booked a room on the 14th floor of the Cecil Hotel for several weeks. On January 10th, 1938, a hotel employee saw a body on top of a skylight of a building next to the Cecil Hotel and called the police. The police came and identified the body as Roy Thompson's. They said that Roy committed suicide by leaping from his 14th floor hotel room window. You figure they would have put fucking bars on this this hotel by now.
You figured, but they didn't.
Wouldn't he have just broken through the damn skylight? I mean, that's some thick glass.
Yep. So a year later, on May 28th, 1939, 39-year-old Irwin Neblett, who was a sailor of the USS Wright, booked a room at the Cecil Hotel. That night, the hotel maid found Irwin unconscious on the floor of his room and called the police. The police ruled his death as a suicide by strychnine poisoning. The police also stated that they had found a sealed letter in Irwin's room that was addressed to Dr. D.C. Neblett of Staten Island. But the police did not open the letter and instead sent it along with the corpse to a mortuary in Long Beach, California.
Have you looked or read the death by strychnine poisoning?
No.
Dude, your body convulses and about snaps your fucking back.
That is horrifying.
Why would anybody want to take that?
Hey, dude, they used to use it back in the day for heart stuff. That strychnine.
What do you think the letter said? Do you think it was to his dad? I mean, they had the same last name.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah, he predicted it.
Fucking time traveler.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? His dad's like, what the fuck is this? God, he's probably high.
A la Epstein.
Oh, damn. No, so I looked up that Dr. D.C. Neblett of Staten Island, and I couldn't find any information about him. So, just FYI.
Do you think it was his father or
maybe
sibling or something?
Maybe. It's probably just like a goodbye letter or something.
Probably.
All right, so what's the next death?
Less than a year later, on January 10th, 1940, 45-year-old Dorothy Schrieger, who was a school teacher, was found in her room at the Cecil Hotel, unconscious. The police took her to the hospital, and she died 2 days later. Her death was ruled a suicide by poisoning.
It just keeps going.
Things then kind of calmed down for a few years, but they came with a vengeance. In September of 1944, a 38-year-old shoe salesman named Ben Levine and 19-year-old Dorothy Jean Purcell, who was a previous war worker and was pregnant, occupied a hotel room together at the Cecil Hotel for several days. Early one morning, before Ben was awake, Dorothy started having super bad contractions. She decided not to wake Ben up and instead go to the hotel restroom that was on the same floor that they were staying on.
By the way, viewer discretion advised.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Viewer discretion advised for this one. This one's pretty bad. So there in that bathroom, Dorothy delivered the baby all by herself. As she looked at the baby, she thought it was dead. So she decided to open the window to the bathroom and throw the baby out of the window and return to her room. Now, keep in mind, they were on a floor way up there in the hotel. It wasn't like the first or second floor, not that the baby even had a chance of survival going from that high. But I'm just saying, like, they were way up there. So she threw the baby out of the window and returned back to the room as if nothing even it happened. She didn't even tell Ben what happened. You'd figure that Ben would notice she wasn't pregnant. I mean, I know there is some swelling after the woman has a baby, but I mean, it's got to be some noticeable deflation.
Well, from what I read, Ben was having an affair with this woman.
Yeah, maybe he's the one who threw it out the window. I don't know. Anyways, of course, the baby's body was found on the roof of the building adjacent